Hello, hello. Reopen is the word of the day. So this is Cara, Silletto, and Molley Ricketts coming at you again with our COVID workforce discussions as we are dealing with all these staffing issues and policy issues and all of that stuff. And I'm so excited to see regions and states start talking about reopening. Now, not too fast, mind you. We want everyone to stay healthy and safe, but I love that they're putting plans in place, right, Molley?
Yes.
That's what we want to see. And we are here today to encourage you as an organization and as a leader to put your plan in place as we reopen over time, depending on which industry you're in and what kind of customers and clients you serve. We all have to have our own reopen plan. So, Molley, what are a few of the things that you're hearing or seeing or that you would advise clients on to put in their reopen plan and really talk about before that day comes? What can we think about ahead of time right now?
Sure. I think it's something to be proactive about in that strategy of what does reemerging looks like, what is exiting the pandemic, what's that plan? So I see that as we're talking about reopening and what that's going to look like, it's still going to be a distance, right? There still needs to be a plan for how many people can be in a certain space within a certain time. But I think one of the greatest benefits is to bring that confidence and security to your folks, to your team. So maybe it's posting your cleaning and sanitizing schedule, so that everyone sees the efforts that are being made. If it's wiping off the handrails, if it's wiping down the doorknobs and all the light switches, and just looking at accountability schedule of cleaning and sanitizing, because, we don't know what it's going to look like when we get to reemerge, when we get to rebound. But being as open and transparent about the efforts that you're doing as an organization to keep everyone safe, I think will be huge. So definitely having that cleaning and sanitation schedule posted and live, and even people seeing it happen in with their own eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned not having too many people in the same space at the same time. And a few things I think that leaders and HR professionals need to think about with some policy changes is, what's your visitor policy? I don't care if you're manufacturing or healthcare or a small office, working behind desks. People have visitors. What is the reasons they'll be able to come? What are they going to touch that needs to be cleaned? How long can people be there? That type of thing. And then also for the staff, maybe staggering breaks. If you do have a large staff where you have everybody going to break rooms, then possibly splitting that up so that you have a lot less folks in there at the same time trying to use the microwave, for example. And another one that comes to mind, of course, is very near and dear to our hearts, Molley, is the training plan. How much capacity do you have in your training room, and for future orientation and onboarding, management training, staff training, technical training, whatever it is that you need to do soon and down the road? What is your new training room capacity? And are you going to have to offer orientation more often because you can only do it for 15 people instead of 30 at a time, or, different changes like that. So really thinking about that size limitation on some things, and what is that going to look like with breaks, with visitor policies, with training plans, et cetera.
Yeah. Those are not even realizing what that space looks like to say, oh, I can only have 7 people start an orientation versus 15 or 20 that I normally had, because everybody be spaced out. Yeah, that's a great point.
Exactly. The one that caught me off guard, Molley, was one of my clients said that they have revamped their emergency shelter plan because we're in an area that has a lot of tornadoes in the spring and summer. And so if you think about a tornado shelter in a building, it's meant to cram everybody down into one little space, hunkered down together. And so they have already thought about that, and they're watching 24 hours in advance. They have a new emergency notification system 24 hours in advance of any storm cells that will be coming through their area so that they can schedule accordingly and potentially shut down a shift if they need to because they have limited shelter space that would accommodate people in a safe way with the distancing and all of that. So that's another big one. And I know a lot of folks are thinking about PTO and attendance and whatnot.
Yes.
I think we're going to dive deeper into that in another video here. But yeah, do you have any other policies, thoughts on anything else they need to be thinking about right now as we head toward this reopen, and what kind of planning can we do before that magical day happens?
I definitely think making sure that your employee handbook reflects any changes that you've had to make over the last weeks. Like you were talking, Cara, about the PTO and attendance policy. Flexibility by the employer is going to be key to continued success, and rebounding with success, it's going to be imperative. You're going to have to understand and appreciate where we've been as a people, as a community, and then what does it look like to reemerge? You know, especially since they've just called off going to the classroom for students, going to school for the rest of the year. There's going to be a lot of families that are having to adjust and look at things, and looking at that PTO and attendance policy you're going to have to be flexible with that as an employer. Absolutely.
Right.
But making sure it's updated in the handbook.
Exactly. Good tips. So yeah, just remember, everybody, one size doesn't fit all. Whether you're a company trying to come up with this plan, you know, there's not one reopen plan that works for everyone, but then also remember that your staff are individuals. And as you are adjusting these policies, you know, of course you want to protect the company and set forth some rules and guidelines and things, but we have to remember that these folks have families, have lives, have loved ones that they may have to care for. And so that flexibility is definitely going to be key. Thanks again for a great chat, Molley, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Cara, bye.